Today's experience was sent to us by a lovely grandmother. Listen to the end to understand her experience. It happened exactly 2 weeks after my heart attack. I had been on a treadmill at the physical therapist's office when it struck. They asked if I wanted more intensity, and being somewhat macho, I said yes. Wouldn't you know, that's when I had the heart attack. After 4 days in ICU and a week in the hospital, they sent me home with medication, standard protocol, though designed for 40-year-old men, not an 80-year-old woman like me. I took the medicine dutifully. About 3 or 4 days after returning home, a Medicare representative came to interview me at my dining room table. I felt incredibly weak, couldn't even lift my head. I put my arm on the table and rested my head on it. Suddenly, I couldn't speak. Heat was building in my chest, rising to my throat. The representative suggested I move to the couch, helping me over before I fainted. She took my pulse and blood pressure. I was flatlining. She became frantic, running around. My sweetheart was there too, running all over. I could hear the commotion, but I wasn't there. They laid me flat on the couch, and then I began floating up, with my physical body laid down. I looked down to see my body, but I heard all the chaos below. My husband on the phone, the representative panicking. All I thought was, wow, what chaos. 2 words immediately came to mind: comfortable and pleasant. I've had arthritis for years and a spinal fusion. I hadn't been comfortable in my body for a very long time. I would never have used those words, comfortable and pleasant, to describe my physical experience. Yet there they were as I floated upwards slowly. No judgment whatsoever. No fear. No concern. No emotion. Just floating up and thinking about the chaos below. I drifted toward a very thick, spongy gray cloud. It was genuinely spongy, and I headed for its center, which was a lighter gray, almost white but not quite. I began talking to that area. Why, I have no idea, but it seemed natural to communicate with it. I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Well, I guess that's it. This is it, right? I said to the light. The experience remains as clear today as it was in 2019. I continued, thank you, feeling profound gratitude because I was 80 years old, had raised children, enjoyed a fabulous career. I listed the various things I was grateful for as I traveled upward, still sensing the commotion below without judgment. Then suddenly I thought of George, and my ego interjected. I felt like I was speaking aloud. What about George? He's not going to get along well without me. In that instant of fear, boom, I was slammed back into my body. 2 paramedics were sticking needles in my arms, pounding on my chest, shoving tubes up my nose. I was back on Earth. Reflecting afterward, especially as a psychotherapist, I realized it was fear that brought me back. I wasn't fearful until I worried about George. This plane of existence we're on is so heavy with gravity, pulling downward. It's fear-based. I had been floating upward because I had no fear. It was pleasant, without judgment. When the paramedics were wheeling me out on the gurney, tubes everywhere, I was regaining consciousness to this reality. As we reached the door to load me into the ambulance, I spotted the neighbor's garbage cans and yelled to George, "George, take out the garbage." He ran after me with my purse, exclaiming, "She's back." Was I angry about returning? Well, it was disappointing on some level. Not that I'm upset about being here. I've written 2 books since then about consciousness and transformation. I've raised over 350 monarch butterflies and released them in my yard since this happened. After my near-death experience, they fitted me with a life vest, a tight, girdle-like thing up to my chest, painful and attached to a computer to shock me if my heart failed again. Sitting in my yard, unable to walk much, my husband brought me milkweed. Being a type A personality used to working, I was frustrated by my immobility. I started growing caterpillars. Monarchs only lay their eggs on milkweed. As I watched the phases the caterpillars went through, from larvae to caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly, I likened it to the phases we humans experience, the various stages of consciousness. That inspired my book. I never would have started raising butterflies otherwise. I would have been too busy working. Everything happens for a reason, for a higher purpose we can't comprehend at the time. I believe I came back because I wasn't finished. For whatever reason, I needed to raise those 350 endangered monarch butterflies and write these books to help others realize there's more to life than our earthbound existence. Just as caterpillars denude their plants, eating everything and fighting their way to food sources, humans behave similarly, always wanting more, better, different, fighting to climb higher for resources or desires. I wrote about this parallel, not to make money, but to share the insight that there is more to existence. When a caterpillar must eat its way out of the cocoon, nobody can help it. It's a lengthy process. And when it emerges, every cell has changed. It's not the same caterpillar when it emerges as a monarch. Every cell is different, and suddenly it has wings, though it doesn't know it can fly. Just like I never knew I could float up and feel pleasant and comfortable in my being. When I returned to my body, I was uncomfortable again, of course. With my fused back, arthritis, tendinitis, sometimes needing a walker now, it's uncomfortable being in this body. My ego brought me back with the fear that George wouldn't manage without me. Pure ego and fear. I believe we're all energy, vibrating energy. Whether you consider it our higher self, our mind on some level, I believe in spirit, in the soul. As a Jungian therapist, I believe we have a soul and a source of electricity, of light, and we continue on from there. I've learned that humanity is a very young species. Dinosaurs were here for hundreds of millions of years. We've had writing for merely 10 to 15,000 years. We're a young species still killing one another and destroying our home planet. It's upon us to become more conscious, to raise our vibration level, whether through meditation, running, or however you achieve it, to look up and see the light. This isn't religious. To me, it's simply factual. Energy changes form, as Einstein noted. What I tell people now is, have calm thoughts, be with the light. If we all stopped and breathed slowly and looked up, we'd all see that light. I help people with anxiety, divorce, whatever they're facing, but it's really about guiding them toward awareness. Living in a yoga ashram and learning to meditate and breathe, that was my best training of all, even though I was already a psychotherapist. Never lose faith, as the butterfly says to the caterpillar. No matter what stage of life you're in, whatever challenges you face, remember, we're here to learn. Ask yourself what lessons you need to learn, how you're using this precious time, and know that there's so much more beyond what we can imagine, just like the caterpillar has no concept of becoming a butterfly. Nature teaches us, have faith, there's more.